In this video, we're going to be talking about the short run shutdown condition. This can be a little bit confusing, but it's really important that you understand that what we're talking about is whether or not a business is going to shut down in the short run. What does that mean? It means that this business is profitable in the long run. They're not thinking about going out of business. They're just deciding whether or not to stay open on Tuesday or to close on Tuesday. Tuesday's typically the slowest day for restaurants. They're trying to decide whether or not to close at 6 p.m. or at 9 p.m. or at midnight. Most businesses are not open 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So how do businesses decide when to open their doors and when to close their doors? We will be talking about going out of business, which is long run entry and exit, in the next topic. But for now, just keep in mind that these are profitable businesses and they're just deciding when to stay open and when to close on a day-to-day, week-to-week, hour-to-hour basis. Like we said at the end of last video, our fixed cost, our rent, it's a sunk cost. Because this business is going to be open for the foreseeable future, they're going to be paying their rent whether or not they've opened their doors or closed their doors, okay? So the business is going to stay in business, they're going to pay their rent. How do they decide whether or not to close at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m.? Well, they're going to look at their revenue during that time period versus their variable costs. Remember, in any context, to answer any question, all we need to do is identify the relevant costs and benefits and then compare them. So what's the benefit of staying open from 9 to 10 p.m.? Well, you get a little bit extra revenue. And what's the cost? You've got to pay people to work in your restaurant or whatever other variable costs you have. What we want to do is to stay open as long as revenue is bigger than variable cost. All of our other cost concepts have been rearranged to be in per unit terms, okay? So we've got marginal cost is the cost of one additional unit, and we've got average total cost, which is the average cost per unit. So we also want to rearrange this condition to be in per unit terms. And to do that, we just divide both sides by quantity, and we get price, because remember, total revenue is equal to price times quantity, is greater than or equal to this we're going to call average variable cost. Average variable cost is just your variable cost per unit. So here's our decision rule. We're going to stay open an extra hour only if our price, our revenue per unit, is bigger than our variable cost per unit.